Welcome to Section 2, Setting the Project Up with a Clear Scope to Ensure All Stakeholders Are Bought In. Energy shows that completeness of planning and scope definition is positively. Research by the U.S. Department of Energy shows that completeness of planning and scope definition is positively correlated with project success. By creating a robust project scope definition, you are setting your project up for success, on time, within budget, and adaptive to change. A persistent challenge in built environment projects is the pressure to reduce the time expended on planning and scoping. Today's discussion assumes you have some experience with project scope development, and will focus more on how approaches like front-end planning, or FEP, can help mitigate risk and enable delivery for built environment projects. In this section, you will learn the importance of establishing a clear project scope in the front-end planning phase of built environment projects, the methods, tools, tips, and techniques required to developing project scope, and the approaches to increase stakeholder buy-in from project inception. Let's get started. Click Next. Benjamin Franklin once said that, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." In today's world of built environment, research has found that the lack of clear scope and goals is the #1 cause of claims and disputes. Admittedly, scope is a rather broad and ambiguous term. In built environment projects, scope refers to a holistic end-to-end view of all activities or tasks to be executed during project delivery. Scope can also identify what is not included or to be delivered in the project, thus giving contracted entities clear boundaries for the project delivery. Ideally, scope definition occurs after the vision and goals have been defined, but before the project plans are developed. The vision and goals inform the scope, and the scope in turn informs the project plans. To recap the fundamentals of scope development, click Next or skip to the next section discussing front-end planning and the role it plays during the early stages of project scope development. Scope development on built environment projects starts at the very beginning of the project. It focuses on goals, objectives, and required outcomes. The owner organization or the owner-appointed consultants are responsible for translating requirements into a detailed SOW. Such SOWs form the contractual basis for working allocation between different stakeholders in the delivery of the project. Other items that can be included in a detailed SOW are the project team structure, change management process, reporting requirements on deliverables, schedule, and budget, governance structures, the project approval process, and quality controls and requirements. To review scope development in built environment projects, click to download a PDF. There are various techniques that can be applied when developing an SOW for your project. Here are 5 tips to keep in mind. When writing the scope of work document, it is important to use clear and obvious language. Start writing the scope of work statement using a top-down approach. The project objectives and deliverables need to be clear throughout the scope of work statement document. Utilize visual representations of work when feasible to support any description. And sign-offs on the scope of work is key for all built environment projects. To gain further insights on these steps, click here to download the PDF. WBS helps your project team to organize and subdivide the project's scope of work. This is essential to project planning, monitoring, and controlling activities. Any revisions to the WBS during the project will result in rework and increased delivery effort. A WBS that is poorly constructed can result in a variety of outcomes, such as those shown here. To learn more about WBSs, click here to download the PDF. Scope provides the holistic end-to-end view of all activities and tasks required for project delivery. If not managed comprehensively, with forethought and rigorous front-end planning, a project is more likely to fail. Poor project planning and scope definition results in changes throughout the project delays, budget overruns, project failures, and disputes. Much research as of late has thus been focused on identifying ways and methods to improve project delivery in the built environment industry. PMBOK notes that scope baseline is the approved version of a scope statement. The scope of work is normally created in parallel with the work breakdown structure, thereby ensuring alignment. The project scope forms part of the baseline, which includes the scope of work statement, SOW, work breakdown structure, WBS, and work packages. The scope baseline is always used as the basis for comparing project changes. Once approved, the scope baseline cannot be changed unless it follows your project's predetermined change management process. To review scope baseline in built environment projects, click to download a PDF. Best practice suggests that there is a clear need to develop detailed scope for a project during the front-end planning phase. Front-end planning is typically comprised of 3 stages: feasibility, or appraise, concept, or select, and detailed scope, or define. Click on each stage to learn more. As a project manager, you may have also heard front-end planning by other terms, such as front-end loading, pre-construction, feasibility analysis, project programming, and schematic or conceptual design. Front-end planning encompasses the determination of the business need, objectives and performance outcomes, the scope definition and the scope of the project, the outline of general design, and the identification of project risks which may hamper project delivery. When changes are encountered on a project, they often result from uncertainty at inception. Therefore, investing in front-end planning and creating a clear scope definition can reduce or protect against cost and time overruns on capital projects. The relationship between front-end planning and scope change is summarized by the McLeamy curve, represented by the purple line in the diagram on your screen. Hover over each colored line to learn about their impact on traditional built environment projects. The benefits associated with front-end planning for built environment projects are shown here. Click each one to learn more. Since the early 1990s, the Construction Industry Institute, or CII, has researched the importance of front-end planning for scope definition. To support their research and enable best practice, they had developed a standardized scoring tool to help stakeholders on built environment projects assess scope definition across a set of criteria. The tool, known as the Project Definition Rating Index, or PDRI, is discussed in further detail in later sections. In addition to ensuring scope is comprehensively defined early in the project lifecycle, stakeholder buy-in to scope definition and change management processes is equally important. This will prevent rework and changes later in the project. An example of a built environment project encountering scope and stakeholder problems is the Denver International Airport, or DIA, which was designed and built over 5 years and opened on February 25, 1995. Take a moment to read about this project. If you would like to learn more about the impact of ineffective scope management on the project, click here to download a PDF. Let's take a moment to see what you've learned. You have now completed setting the project up with a clear scope to ensure all stakeholders are bought in. In the next section, we will learn about scope evaluation tools developed by the Construction Industry Institute, or CII. Looking forward to meeting again